Hi, it's Mark from Ultra Speaking. I'm here with my good friend Darrell Ross. He's a business coach in Vancouver. He's a master networker. He runs a massive network group in Vancouver for high-end, high net worth, high performing individuals. And of course, he's a fantastic small business coach in Vancouver. We're going to talk about something that I'm sure many of us are kind of trying to switch out of. We've sort of been in a lovely space of maybe we could slack off a little because there was a pandemic on and all that. The pandemic's still here, but a lot of people are going, you know what? I got to get going. There's got to be some action happening. Something's got to change. Procrastination. What are your thoughts on procrastination, Darrell?
Yeah, my thoughts on procrastination. It's something that I've noticed in myself from time to time and noticed in others as well. It comes up in coaching conversations and people beat themselves up over it. And it's natural. I mean, it's just a natural human trait that we tend to put things off until we absolutely have to do them. It comes from way back in our cave person days. But the reality is, there are things that need to get done. And sometimes that procrastination, when you leave it too long to get something done, it creates a lot of stress. And then some people say that they thrive on that stress. That helps them complete things. And, in the 11th hour, yes, that works. But does it really lead to your best work? And, what effect does that stress have on you in the meantime? And so that's the part that, for me, I was noticing that I was a little bit stressed out about a couple things. And I thought, you know what? It's because I'm not taking consistent actions every single day, moving towards that goal, letting other things, take precedence and working on those. And then working on, if you remember the analogy of the big rocks, little rocks, you got to work on your big rocks and make sure that you're doing consistent actions towards that. So procrastination, I mean, it's a matter of setting timelines, putting deadlines in the calendar, and not just the final deadline, but I would say incremental ones. And obviously it helps if you have an accountability partner or a coach to help get things done. One of the things I can say and definitely compliment Mark on is, we do these videos twice a week. And that's something I'd been putting off for a long time, was doing more videos. But now, it's in the calendar. It happens twice a week, every single week. So there's no procrastinating allowed. And just the piece that I would add to it as well is that helps is urgency. And sometimes, especially those of us that are a little bit more laid back, where, we don't necessarily have that urgency. So sometimes you want to generate that within yourself. And it's not like a desperate urgency, like it has to happen right now, but it's just, okay, you know what? These 3 things need to get done. I'm just going to get those 3 things done. And then I'm going to take a break. Not I'm going to take a break and then do these 3 things. So sometimes it's just a matter of prioritizing a little bit. And the good thing with urgency is people feel that a little bit and they can tell that, you've attached some more importance to it. And so I think that could lead to a better result. So, my suggestion is overcome, put yourself over procrastination, put some systems in place to help achieve things on the timelines that you set, and introduce some urgency. I know, Mark, you said you had another take. So.
Well, I think there's some dragons there. I think introducing urgency, that can definitely bring on a lot of stress. So there's a fine line to walk there. Procrastination, often I've found, when I really examined it in my life, was I wasn't ready to do whatever. There's the simple stuff, there's the honey-do list, there's the things that that you've kind of put off, that maybe you feel this urgency behind them, or somebody else is providing urgency to you to get them done. But often what I found is I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Either I didn't have enough information so that I had a clear path forward, or I just wasn't emotionally into it yet. And when I get there, when I know I've got this thing that needs to get done and I'm procrastinating, if I look inside and go, how can I reframe this into, there is going to be a big win for me out of doing this? It's not just grabbing myself by the scruff of the neck and hammering through it over and over, because that is a recipe for ulcers and stress and cancer, frankly, and heart attacks, etc. That is not a way. Great, you got a whole shitload done in your life, but was that life worth living? Honestly,
Yeah.
I think there's a balance. There's always a balance there that I think is a challenge, a worthwhile challenge to find, and being able to set things up so that you want to do that thing you're procrastinating on instead of going, I hate doing that crap, and then reinforcing that, building that little frog into a big frog so it's really going to be tough to swallow is not the way to do it. That's the way I've personally urgently done things in the past. And like you said, it was never my best work, and it certainly wasn't good for my being or well-being or for the people around me, frankly.
Yeah. And I think what you're talking about too is, advice that I've heard and I subscribe to is connecting to your why. So, like the big win really is, okay, what's your ultimate why? And then, okay, yeah, it makes sense that I have to do this data entry or whatever, and it's got to get done this week, because ultimately that's going to lead to this result that's, building my big dream. So there are things that we all have to do.
And then there's also, you get to a point where hopefully you can delegate some of that stuff away. Like, I don't like bookkeeping in the slightest and keeping track of numbers and all that stuff. And I have people for that. So that's looked after. So I don't have to anymore. The other stuff, I've been able to put a lot of that away. So there's a certain level that you can get to that you can start to delegate to people who actually like doing that stuff, the things that you don't want to do. And that, of course, that's age old. That's not like a big secret or anything. I think the secret in there is that there's a way that you can visualize and change your mindset so that you can enjoy that stuff that you got to do. And then it's not procrastinating anymore. It just gets done and it's just part of your routine.
Yeah.
It's like getting in the cold shower every morning. It can be terrifying, and I can build it into this massive thing because it's really cold where we live now. It's in the 30s. But if I just do it without thinking about it, or I think about how good I'm going to feel afterwards, because I always feel like Superman afterwards, then it's not a big deal. Just get in there, and 6 minutes later, I walk out and going, rah, I'm ready for this day. Watch out. I've done the hardest thing I'm ever going to do today already.
Yeah, awesome.
Darrell Ross, if you need some coaching in Vancouver, you can reach him at 604-218-4702. He's also available worldwide. He's got a network that actually circumnavigates the globe, all over Europe, all over Asia, all over the world, without any exaggeration at all. You can reach out to him for some networking advice or some coaching on that. Check out his website, morebusinessmorelifenow.com, or email him at Darrell@morebusinessmorelifenow.com. Thanks, Darrell.
Thanks, Mark. Have a good one.